everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Horror Movie Night. This week, we advise you to pack some sunscreen, tequila, and call all the most aggressively shitty people you know, because we're taking a trip to Mexico with 2008's The Ruins. Plants get all up inside Adam while he's trying to read the actual book that this movie was based on. Scott got all up inside Adam while he was sleeping. And the memories of this trip will forever be inside Matt, and probably anyone else he comes in contact with. Let's discuss.
Wow. Basically, that's the best thing this movie ever spawned, because nothing good came from this movie except for that. This movie's fucking garbage.
Okay, so the very first thing I noticed before, and I'm going to give a heads up for this episode and next week, I really did my best to keep these plot descriptions to like the bare essentials, and thankfully both of those movies have the ability to let me do that. So don't be shocked if these are shorter plot descriptions, listeners. So the movie starts off with two couples, Jeff and Amy and Eric and Stacy, and they're vacationing in Mexico. And it's at this point that I didn't realize that Jonathan Tucker was in this, since I thought he literally only was in the movie 100 Girls. So they befriend Matthias.
Matthias, he's a German tourist.
He's a German tourist. And
with the most atrocious fucking
accent?
German accent? Oh, man. It was bad.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's not a good accent, like if that really is his accent or not, but regardless, it is like goddamn impossible to take anything he says seriously because he sounds like a caricature.
Well, and like they decide to go with him to visit his brother at some Mayan temple. And this is the thing that bothers me, is like, before this, there's this whole established thing that they have never left the resort, even though everybody, or not everybody, but at least two of the people would really like to go visit some of these ruins. And the girls refuse. But suddenly it's just like, oh, hello, random German. Yes, we'll totally venture into the middle of nowhere because we're very trusting suddenly.
Within 30 seconds of meeting him,
yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay, well, what, you don't even know where you're going? You have a map drawn on a piece of paper? Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, let's go on this adventure. What could possibly go wrong? And fucking
we're all hungover as shit. Let's go somewhere where we've never been.
That no one's ever been. It's not even on the maps. It's like, and let's wear flip-flops. That I couldn't get past that scene.
Let's not even take a day's worth of water.
The saddest thing is that Jeff is probably the most likable person in this movie, and he's like barely likable. He's just less shitty than everyone else. And then out of nowhere, Matthias is bringing his friend Dimitri, too, because, we need to make sure that we have enough people to have deaths in this movie. And this is at the point where I actually made a note where I said, in just 15 minutes in this movie, we've met 6 characters and seen them meet each other, had man-ass and full frontal female nudity, and had multiple should we, shouldn't we go arguments.
Wait. Did I miss the full frontal? Who got naked?
Stacy, man.
Stacy, she's like full frontal.
Stacy?
There was...
Dude, this is a perfect example of how much I could not, how little of shit I fucking gave about anybody in this film.
Yeah, that's like in the first 10 minutes.
I watched this like 2 weeks ago, and I don't remember anybody's names. I had to look up a picture. She's the one that looks like Michelle Williams.
Well, what she's actually from is what I know her from is she's the Man. And she's the girl that has a crush on Amanda Bynes' character as a boy.
You were too old to be watching She's the Man when She's the Man came out.
She's the Man is a great movie.
No, She's the Man is a fantastic movie because poor Amanda Bynes, it was before Amanda Bynes got real crazy, but it's real cute. I really like that film. Who's the dude in it?
That's also played by Amanda Bynes. Sorry, bad joke.
No, that's a terrible joke. Who's the dude that she has the crush on that she decides to dress up as? Or, the guy for? Channing Tatum, yeah. Channing Tatum's pretty cool. Like, I feel like he's really easy to hang out with. That's just me. But no. In any case, She's the Man. I did not watch it when it first came out, but then when Megan moved in, she brought all of her DVDs, and she was like, have you ever watched She's the Man? I was like, no. And she was like, we're putting it in and watching it. And so we watched it, and I love that movie. It's got so many quotable lines. I mean, I seriously quote that movie to this day. It's not something I should be proud of, but I am.
Yeah, no, I think She's the Man is a perfectly fine film, as is Sidney White. The other Amanda Bynes movie that I own. Anyway, so they reach the ruins, and pretty much immediately villagers come out and they kill Dimitri because why not? He's useless and totally expendable. But I do think that arrow headshot combination was kind of cool. That was probably literally the highlight of the movie was that 4 seconds. So the people who aren't Dimitri run up the steps to the ruins, and that's where they find an abandoned campsite as well as Matthias's brother's dead body. They hear his cell phone ringing deep inside the ruins, so they try to lower him in there, but then the rope breaks, leading him to be paralyzed. So Amy and Jeff go to get help from the Mayans. So Amy grabs just a handful of vines and throws it at them, and it hits a little boy, and the Mayans just immediately shoot that kid. And that's when they realize that they're not afraid of them, they're afraid of the vines themselves. The next morning, they find that the vines have literally stripped almost all the skin off of Matthias's legs, so Jeff cuts them off.
It's also gotten inside of Stacy's leg.
Yeah, so inside the ruins, they find the corpse of the female archaeologist that Matthias's brother had come here with, and that the phone ringing sound is actually just a vine that's mimicking the ring.
So the vine that makes the sounds, it can sound like a ringing phone or somebody screaming and all that stupid shit. Is it bad that that's what broke my suspension of disbelief? I can understand hungry vines, but vines that are I can sound like a human? Come on. That's really, really pushing it for me.
The evolutionary progress of this vine, it's one step away from getting up and just walking away from the fucking ruins. It's got everything. It's intelligent. It can speak. What?
And it can move at varying speeds. That's what really pisses me off. Is that sometimes it's rah, just to fucking get the jump scare, and sometimes I'm gonna come after you real slow. I'm gonna get you while you're asleep.
Can I ask a genuine question while we're discussing the?
Absolutely not.
Because can't they just set it on fire? What's the point of the Mayans being there? Can't they just torch the vines?
Right. I know. Fuck.
Well, I actually
so stupid.
I did look up some discussion on that, and it's 3 things. 1, you can't really burn green plants. 2, they didn't have enough tequila and stuff to cause a big enough fire that it would.
No. I'm not talking about the survivors. I'm talking about the Mayans that know that these vines are evil. I'm sure that they could get enough shit together to get a good blaze going on those ruins.
Oh, well, one of the theories is that they're not trying to keep them quarantined to keep the vines in. It's once you touch the ruin, you have to be sacrificed to it. Okay. It's all about sacrificing them.
You know what would have been great for this movie? Anything that established that.
Yeah, it would have. Well, you know
maybe
what?
Subtitles would be fantastic for when the Mayans are yelling shit. The characters still don't need to know what they're saying, but maybe the fucking audience can be clued in on what the hell is happening.
Well, that and guys, I read this book.
I know.
I read it over the past week. That's part of the book too. It's always left ambiguous. We never know what the Mayans are saying or why they're saying it. It's constantly left up to our interpretation.
Yeah, that's all right. Fucking anyway. So literally, it's 5 minutes after the really painful to watch legs being cut off sequence. Matthias just dies anyway because a vine just suffocates him by going down his throat. And then Stacy becomes paranoid that the vines are inside her. So Jeff begins to remove them, and she becomes obsessed with cutting herself to get vines out even if they're not there. Stacy accidentally kills Eric, and then demands that Amy murder her. Eventually, Jeff decides that he can make it appear as though Amy's dead to give her hope of survival, and then he'll sacrifice himself to the mines below. Amy escapes, and shortly afterwards, the Greeks arrive, and if you're watching the Untold edition, also, you find out that Amy has been infected by the vines.
Yep.
So, question. Is it just me, or is this movie basically cabin fever without any attempt at humor and in Mexico?
Pretty much.
Because that's what it feels like to me.
No, I actually felt... I would almost compare it slightly more, in tone anyway, to Hostel without any sense of humor, because at least Cabin Fever has characters that I find moderately likable, whereas in Hostel and this movie... no one is likable.
Yeah, I hate Hostel. I hate Eli Roth because he just can't make likable characters. I don't know what his problem is. I don't
I
like anybody from any movie.
my thing with Eli
He's a
Roth, if we're going to go on this tangent, which I'm all about, is that I feel like Eli Roth has consistently disappointed me after how much I liked Cabin Fever, with the exception of the Thanksgiving trailer. And every other attempt he's had at making
Thanksgiving is awesome.
everything beyond that has been a massive disappointment when it's like, I've seen Cabin Fever. I know that you can mix comedy and horror, and you did a pretty good job of it. Do that again. You worked at Troma. Like, you should understand this.
He worked at Troma?
Yeah.
I would never have known that he was shown the way and then fucked it up so horribly.
Not only did he work at Troma, Scott, he does the commentary for Blood-Sucking Freaks.
I still haven't seen it.
Yeah, I mean, because basically they were just going to release Blood-Sucking Freaks without a commentary track because they didn't have anybody that they could contact from the movie. And Eli Roth was like an intern and was just like, hey, that's my favorite movie. I'll do the commentary. And they're like, do you think you can talk for an hour and a half? And he's like, yep. And anyone who's seen an interview with Eli Roth knows that motherfucker could talk for days. So,
Oh, God. Yeah.
so it's basically...
Yeah, but if somebody asked me to do the commentary track to Pretty Woman, I'd be like, yeah, that's my favorite movie. I'll do that. Anything to get on a DVD, I don't care, whatever. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, the one thing I will say about the Blood-Sucking Freaks commentary is worth listening to once, because he does such a good job of just spouting nonsense that it's really tough to tell what parts of it are like actual real facts and what's made up shit that he's just coming up with on the top of his head, because when you do more research, you're like, oh, that thing was actually true? And then you start to question everything that he says in there for what is real and what isn't. But that's...
Well, I feel like that's kind of like every day with Eli Roth because I don't think he even knows what's real anymore. I think he's just like, I'm going to say something and if I say it enough times, regardless of if it's true or not, it will become true in my mind. Additionally, did either of you guys watch The Green Inferno?
No,
No.
my buddy went and saw it and said that it is a must-see if you're a writer and want to see how to do a terrible script.
Okay, well, that explains a lot.
Did you tell him that you had just finished watching The Ruins, so you were good to go?
Yeah, no, I've already had my education on that.
Hey, you guys know that one character from Cabin Fever that's like, fuck you guys, you can't have any of my beer, and I'm leaving you all here to die?
Yeah, that's
This
every
movie-
character in this movie.
This movie is like if 5 of those guys went on vacation to Mexico.
So I do have to ask you real quick, and maybe you already told us this. When we were talking about our plans for what to do with this particular episode, you had told us that you had finished reading the book and that you had something that was going to blow our minds.
Yeah, okay, so let me ask you this. Who did you hate the most in this movie?
Jenna Malone.
Really?
Yes, dude. She let the infection out. Like, she's the worst person.
She caused it to happen. She got the little boy killed. She was a useless piece of shit. All she did was whine, and then she was the one that left, but she also took the infection with her. Right?
See, I guess that's true, and I never really... Because the point where I was most frustrated with her, for some reason I didn't care about when she cheated on her boyfriend, but I was more frustrated...
That was... she was wasted. She didn't do anything. I wouldn't really consider that...
I was more frustrated with the entire conversation in the hotel room where, like, she's just playing the most obnoxious, like, the worst type of girlfriend to me, where it's just like, no, it's fine, like, you just go do what you want and I'll just, just stay here. And it's like, God damn it. Like, all we've done, like, I'm sitting there and I'm in Jeff's mind, I'm like, we fucking came to Mexico and we haven't left this goddamn resort. I just want to do one thing. Like I got so angry watching that sequence.
Well, you should have just left her there. But here's the thing. They took I feel bad for Jenna Malone because they took every bad trait and every bad decision of every character from the book and put them all into that one character. This shit was spread out. I'm like, Stacy was the one that cheated. Yes, Amy was the one that touched the vine in the first place that got them stuck there. But she was helpful. She was doing stuff. She didn't whine as much. Like she didn't escape. She wasn't the one that escaped at the end. Like, they took every bad trait of every character and just amalgamated it into this one character, which was just like, why? Why would you do that? Like, you make me just detest this fucking character, and I hated her. I hated her so bad. So it was like, what kind of writing decision is that? Why does it all need to be caused by one single individual? I didn't get it.
I mean, I think that might just be, I don't know. Because it would make sense if I was to sit there and be like, well, they wanted us to just have one character to dislike. That would make sense if it wasn't for the fact that I still disliked everybody.
Disliked everybody else. Yeah, they're all shitty
sucks.
people. Well, here's the other thing that I hated that they changed. In the book, the Greek doesn't die right away. He is actually the one that falls down the shaft, and he breaks his neck, or it breaks his back. So Jeff and Matthias are both still fine. So for the rest of the book, they're dealing with this Greek, but they don't speak his language. So that, like, leg cutting scene, like, he doesn't have a say. They all just vote on it together, and then he's screaming at them in Greek, and they have no idea what he's talking about, but they just hold him down and chop his fucking legs off. I'm like, that's so much better than what we got here. Like, and then Matthias just instantly gets choked out by the vine anyways. But Eric does have that awesome line that was like, well, thank God we chopped off his legs. I was like, yeah, buddy, woo. Yeah, no, there was a lot of differences. Can I just spoil the end of the book for you guys?
Sure.
Nobody lives. Stacy is actually the last one left alive. Eric is the one that thinks that the vine is in him. That's like crawling. He does like all the cutting and stuff. So anyway, Stacy is the last one.
That's so silly that they even changed that. Like,
dude, they did a bunch of changes like that. You know how Jeff was the one that's like adamant, like, the Greeks are going to come, they'll be here, blah blah blah. Everyone else in the group was doing that before, and Jeff was the only one that knew, like, no, we're going to be fucking stuck here. He was making them all pee in jugs and stuff, because he knew, like, we're going to have to preserve water, like, we're going to be stuck here for a long time. But for some reason, the movie turned around and made him an idiot, too. It was like, what are you doing with these characters? Anyway, so the movie ends with nobody makes it out alive. Everybody dies. Stacy's the last one, and she goes down to the bottom of the thing, and she just looks at the Mayans and, like, condemns their actions and slits her own wrists, and, like, the vines come and, like, drag her off away. That's how the book ends.
As shitty as the book sounds, I feel like that would have been a fantastic visual ending of someone, like, slitting their wrists and instead of blood coming out, just vines spilling out. But
no.
Awesome. No, that's not what the book said at all.
Okay.
Actually, you know what? That would be all fucking amazing. That would be so good. Damn, that would be good. Dude, we gotta...
God, why aren't you making movies right now?
We are constantly coming up with better ideas for the movies we watch on this podcast.
I'm pretty sure throughout the entire time that we've done Horror Movie Night, we have yet to do where we, like, literally rewrite and recast a movie like we used to. You remember that one? There was that one night where we recorded like 4 podcasts in a row, and I think 3 of those 4 podcasts we recasted the film. Wasn't John Hamm in Motel Hell?
Yeah, we
my God,
put John Hamm in like 6 different things for some reason. We were really on a John Hamm kick.
Okay, so funny story is a friend of mine in one of the guys in writers group has a script that he's working on for a short, and his whole goal is that he wants to cast John Hamm as Satan, because he's like, come on, like, who better to trick you into doing evil than John Hamm, because you just can't say no to that guy. And I'm like, there's a little bit of truth there. If John Hamm could ask me to kill somebody, and I guarantee he'd say it with a smile so charming that I'd be like, okay.
Hey, Matt, welcome to the list.
Yep, you're on the list, my friend.
All right.
The list of people who are signed up to do the John Hamm dating service. He'll look inside your eyes and help you through the date.
I don't have anything else to add. Scott, do you have anything else to add?
Yes. Between this and next week's discussion, I really want us to do a thought experiment here where we consider the antagonists of these 2 films as SCP entities. I don't know if you guys read SCP at all, but and I don't know if anybody listening does, so I'll just give a real quick rundown. All it is basically this website where people write creative horror fiction, and it's all about the containment of different horrible monsters and phenomena and diseases and things like that. And some of them are world-ending and things like, whatever. There's like a zombie virus, and there's a monster that if you see its face, it will come after you and nothing can stop it and it'll eat you. or something. But yeah, SCP is really fun. Some of it's fucking drivel, but some of it's really entertaining. But if we were to add the Vines and the Ruins to it, it would basically be like a containment breach because natives they had salted the earth so that the vines, somehow back in the past, they had gotten the vines up into the ruins and they salted the earth around it in a perimeter so that they primitively couldn't, in a primitive way so that they couldn't get past it. But fucking idiot Jenna Malone breaks out of the quarantine and then lets it loose in wherever the hell they were, whatever city they were nearby. And then, of course, the SCP agents would have to come and basically, like, burn everyone. But, of course, SCP would not actually destroy the vines, because I'm pretty sure those vines are just as susceptible to some napalm as a little bit of poison ivy. But, you know, like the idiots that they are, they would keep it alive and study it and try and find out ways to basically militarize it, as kind of weaponize it. So, we'll do this again next week for the retarded space vampires.
All right, so are you done?
I'm more than done. Thank you for listening.
So I think it's time for Adam to tell us some notes.
All right, so this is the notes for the ruins. We get this first death, right? Like right off the bat, we get the chick in the cave, and she's on the cell phone, and it's like what Scott said. Like the vines come in and just instantly rip her away into the darkness. I'm left wondering for the rest of the movie why they don't just do that. Why do they have to be sneaky vines? Like, and then there's people in the cave, like stuck in the cave in the dark, unable to get away from.
And they're not fully eaten.
Yeah,
what the fuck? That makes no sense.
Like man, it's like the vines know that somebody's watching. They're trying to create some sense of tension to the proceedings here. It's freaking stupid. So Jeff was Mr. Nude Lifeguard 2008. Do you know who Mr. Nude Lifeguard 2009 was? Our own friend Scott Roger. Oh, yeah, I had the calendar. I like the actor that plays Matthias, and no, that is not his real accent, because he was in stuff like The Grey and stuff like that.
He was awesome in I mean, I know a lot of people will shit on me for liking this movie, but he's awesome in fucking Across the Universe.
Oh, true, he is in that too.
He's the friend that the main character befriends in college, Max.
Yeah, and they go get drunk and they sing
A Little Help from My Friends.
It's like one of the best scenes in the movie.
Yeah, one of.
Yeah, there's a lot of great scenes in that movie. People make fun of me for liking that movie, and I'm like, you're assholes. It's all people who don't like. It's all people who don't like the Beatles.
Yeah, I used to be one of those people, but I wised up and I understood that the Beatles are fucking great.
I liked it, but I'm never going to watch it again. I watched it like once, maybe 1.5 times. So yeah, I like him, but that accent got old after about 12 seconds. That was bothering me throughout most of this movie.
Yeah, he was like a step away from Hans and Franz with his German accent.
Yes.
yeah, it was. Sounded like he was putting on a production of Springtime for Hitler or something.
God, we could only hope.
So in the book, they immediately go with him in the movie. In the book, they've been hanging out with this guy all week, and he's been acting cagey, and they've been wondering why, and then he finally admits it's because him and his brother got in an argument, and his brother left. That makes sense. You know, you've known this guy for a week, you've been hanging out, maybe want to help him find his brother. 30 seconds of explanation? No, fuck off. You're not going alone into the jungle with some random German tourist. Whatever.
Especially, and this is the thing that bothers me with pretty much any film of this type, is, I don't care if you are aware that you're in a horror movie or not in a horror movie. There is no circumstance whatsoever where I am in another country and I'm just going to go off on an adventure with a person that I don't know and trust.
If it's a man.
If it's John Hamm. Look, John Hamm is a man that I know and trust.
You wouldn't do us wrong.
Jeff is supposed to be like the likable character. I mean, and at this point, he's still supposed to be likable. Yes, later on, he's a fucking idiot, which the movie doesn't even seem to realize how much they make you hate him. Like, you do hate him later. You hate everybody. But leaving your drunk girlfriend passed out on a beach around a strange German man that you just met, fuck you, Jeff. What are you doing? What? Just whatever. So now we get to see Stacy's boobs. That's pretty good. Apparently Scott missed it. Did you catch Eric's butt, though, Scott?
Oh, dude, did I catch it? Yeah. What?
So, Matthias, is this your brother's Jeep over here, overgrown, covered in shit, looking like it's run down and been here forever? Huh? Oh, yeah, that's it. That's it. We're on the right way. We're going the right way, for sure. So, people said this was a bad place. Creepy children are hanging around here. Somebody intentionally obscured the path. Yeah, we must be going in the right direction. Let's go. Come on. we got...
If we could please quote my one of my all-time favorite films, The Monster Squad. Guys, quit being chicken shits! Or whatever. I might have picked that up.
Spot on.
Yeah, thanks. Hey, you don't have any room to criticize me, Mr. Marblemouth.
I wasn't making fun of your stumbling over words. I was making fun of your spot-on impression of Phoebe the Phoebe.
Oh, I thought that was his Elvira impression. We're all kind of the same.
I brought your bedpan.
Oh, look at my booby tassels.
Yes, that's exactly the end of Elvira. She sounds like fucking Carl from Aquatino.
Yeah, finally the fucking Vegas show. You ready to come see what?
Oh, good. You've seen my tits.
Right. So I explained how the theory that it's all about sacrifice and stuff. But if that's not correct, and they're supposed to be protecting people from like going near this place and spreading the infection, then maybe one of you learn to speak a language other than Mayan. Maybe just one of you has to do that. Just an interpreter. You know, that's no big deal. It could help. Save a lot of trouble.
Too hard, too much work.
So, yeah, I already explained Matthias wasn't the one that fell down the hole, and it was a bummer to see him go, because now you've only got Jeff. Like, in the book, there was two strong characters. Like, there was Jeff and Matthias. They both had their shit together. They both knew survival stuff. In this, it's like, I don't know, nobody cares. Whatever. We're all pretty resigned to die within the first 5 minutes of being here.
They are, like, they aren't proactive about getting things done or trying to find some way to actually fix their situation. But then they just kind of hem and haw about it. They don't really, I don't know. They're the most wishy-washy people ever. Basically they're everybody I went to college with, so I guess that makes perfect sense.
Yeah, pretty well. So Amy is just awful in this movie. She's just a terrible character. And she's, like I said, she's taken on the combined stupidity of everyone else in this movie, which just makes her so unlikable. And then she goes and gets a child shot in the head. Yeah. So I really, really don't like her. So that scene happens, though. Like, she runs down. Jeff tries to stop her. She's having a screaming hissy fit. Gets that little boy killed. And then it hard cuts to Jeff is making the back brace, and Eric is braiding the tent together, and Amy's just sitting there on her ass looking off into the distance. And I'm like, what are you doing? You're so awful. Like,
I love your frustration with the character.
Oh, she's so bad. I would have thrown her down that pit. I would have been like, get out of here. You're just taking up space.
I just would have tripped her. She would have been by the side. It would have done its job, and you would have been absolved of any guilt from anybody else. Have been like, clumsy asshole Amy.
Yeah.
Fell into the killer vines. Whoops.
That's so Amy. So they move Matthias, and his spine sounds like goddamn bubble wrap. Like, that was pretty rough.
Oh, yeah. That's special. Terrible.
So the hand job scene. Let's talk about the hand job scene. When you don't have the internal dialogue of the character's reasoning behind what they're doing, just randomly giving your boyfriend a hand jibber in the tent while your best friend watches is a really awkward fucking scene. Incredibly awkward.
I just figured that. Listen, if someone is going to offer me a hand job, I mean, if my significant other is going to offer me a hand job, why would I ever say no?
No, it's fine. It's fine. But did you see that coming? Like, did you expect her to crawl in?
I felt it.
God damn it.
But this is the scene that I really wish that they had kept it the same as in the book. Because in the book it's Eric that gets his leg cut, and then they
gives the hand job.
What's that?
Is he the one that gives the hand job?
No. He gets the hand job, and detailed describes like the hand, like the cum hitting the tent and like splatting on the ground, and then both of them falling to sleep. In the morning, he gets up, and the vine has been attracted by his semen. And when he pulls the blanket off him, it has wrapped itself around his dick. So he's like rushing to get it off his dick, and like finally he's like, oh, whew. And that's when he notices that it's inside his leg. It's like, that's so much better.
Oh, wow. Yeah. They had no need to have that awkward hand job. None at all in the movie. But the book, oh, that's so dark. I love it.
Right? It makes so much more sense. Like, it's just... It was not a great book. I don't recommend it.
Is it just a good book compared to the movie that you watched?
Yeah, if I had just read this book, I would have been like, well, whatever. No harm lost. But pair it with this movie, and you're like, the movie taints the book. You're like, everything's stupid now. I hate all of it.
But see, this is another one of those films where, like, again, I'm baffled because this is one of those fucking movies where, like, the critical reviews weren't bad. Like, it has a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it's really split down the middle, and I don't understand what people see in it. I really don't. There's not a single redeemable... I don't know. I guess they just like the concept, the conceit of, like, ooh, spooky vines and Mayans trapped and blah. But I
like that, too, but I could just read SCP, and it would be fine. Like, I don't know.
There you go.
And
Save
also,
yourself the trouble.
This movie was made for such a low budget that it already made its budget in its first week, even though it only debuted at number 5.
The bigger issue is that it actually debuted at number 5. That's crazy.
Yeah.
This movie is terrible.
You can see where their lack of budget was when they fucking have those CG vines in the cave and shit. Like the scene where the 2 girls go down. And then the vines start coming after them. Man, yeah. I laughed at how fucking when it grabbed the torch away from her. I was just fucking dying. I was like, "Come on, I'm supposed to be scared of this." Like, oh man.
So there's a quote if you're on the Wikipedia page at the end. It talks about how there was like a bunch of different endings that they shot, and the director told an interviewer that they shot a bunch of different stuff because they wanted to see which one worked best in the finished film. There's a testing process you go through with a studio movie, and it's as frustrating as it can be, but it really gives you a good sense of how an audience feels about an ending. Our final decision was informed by what audiences found the most satisfying after watching a really punishing film. I love the ending of the book, but if the movie had ended that way, the audience would have wanted to kill themselves.
Well, guess what, director man?
She still dies.
I still wanted to kill myself at the end of this.
I think that he managed to make a really punishing film, but not in the way that I think he's referring to it.
Yeah, really. So at some point, Jeff says the line, 4 Americans don't just disappear on vacation. I got some bad news for you, Jeff. That shit happens all the fucking time, buddy. And then look at the leg scene. And that was like, if you've ever heard anybody talk about this movie, they talk about the leg scene. And Matt, you did say that it was pretty brutal, but I just thought it was kind of lame.
No, and I don't mean it's only brutal because of the acting from the guy playing Matthias, because he actually is a half-decent actor, so he's able to convey pain.
Yeah.
But, like, if you put that on mute and just watch that scene by itself, it's fucking garbage. It's silly and ridiculous and goes too long. But there is a point where just, like, someone's screaming, please stop over and over again, where I'm just like, I can't watch this comfortably.
Well, he couldn't feel the pain. It's just the visuals. There's a pretty subtle thing in here, which is probably the smartest thing that the movie does, and it might actually be doing it completely on accident. He says that Matthias is going to get septicemia, or something like that. I might be saying it incorrectly, but he says he's going to get an infection. He says that he's going to get septicemia because his bones are exposed, and the bacteria is going to infect his bones. Septicemia is a blood infection and has absolutely nothing to do with bones. So that's just kind of like a subtle thing of like, oh, you know what? Jeff actually has no fucking idea what he's talking about. And it's a little bit better like that. I like that. Man, these Vines had a craving for some German chicken wings there. crawl in and run off with those. Okay, there's a scene where like Amy comes out there, like Amy and Jeff are having this like heart-to-heart conversation, and Jeff says something along the lines of, Amy, you don't have to say anything, because you're literally 5 people worth of stupid, and I don't care about whatever it is that's coming out of your mouth. I don't fucking care. I don't care. Did I lose you guys? Are you guys still like... Okay.
No, I laughed while you were saying it. Sorry. You got the validation you wanted. Don't worry.
All right, perfect. Thank you. So Jeff pulls a little bit of a magic trick here. It's called the never-ending vine. He just keeps pulling it out of Amy's back. That fucking thing was just like, woo. So, they finish cutting open Amy. There's evil vines everywhere. They're all on the verge of death. Best thing to do is take a midday nap. Right about now is a good time for a little cat nap, don't you think?
Listen, if you're tired, you nap.
Yeah, they were pretty tired. They had a long day. Do you notice that throughout the movie, their clothes are becoming more and more covered in that vine, that green shit?
Yeah.
I think that's like the start of the vine.
It is. It's like some sort of spore that's gotten on them. Why would they keep wearing those clothes though? Like they're like disgusted to even...
Like they have anything else to wear?
I don't know. Stacy could have walked around naked. Whatever. I have no idea.
Dude, listen, you fucking shitlord. She's not gonna walk around naked for your enjoyment just so that you can see her before she dies.
She literally did that 30 minutes ago in the movie.
But that was like 3 days before she goes crazy.
Oh, whatever. Can we all agree that they should have cut the explanation scene? Where Jeff is like putting the blood on Amy's face and explaining what the plan is. Would it not have been better if he had just come down the steps with Amy's body and we found out that she was still alive?
Yes, that would have been much better. But
you know why that would have been a better idea? Because it would have made the movie 3 minutes shorter.
Anything.
See, here we go. Writing a better movie again.
What if we just cut the whole thing where they go to the Rowans? Let's just make this a delightful.
Basically, watch the first half of Hostel. So
let's just make this a delightful 15-minute movie about a bunch of people who go to Mexico and a German guy asks them to go to Rowans and they say no, thank you, and then they get on a plane safely and go home.
They just politely decline.
But you still got to see Amy naked, or else Adam would pitch a shit fit.
Yes, please. Stacy, actually. It was Stacy. I wouldn't mind Amy either, though. But no, actually, you know what? At the end of this movie, I don't want to look at her face. Fuck that. Fuck her. So here's a question. Who fucking cares if it gets out? If these Mayans hadn't been quarantining this thing, maybe we could show it to like some scientists and research it. And I bet you that we could make this fucking plant extinct within like a year.
With fire.
Or they could just napalm it, yeah. Come on.
Yeah, so that's The Ruins. I fucking hated it. It was stupid. I hate everything about it. I don't know. If you like this movie, you can try and explain to me why, but I don't think I'm going to get it. I just don't understand it.
And quick apology to Rich, because I don't think we've even once acknowledged that he picked this movie.
We're trying to do him a solid by not letting everybody that listens know what a shit pick this was.
But we do love Rich. He's a good dude. So
he's great. I think he was really just messing with us.
Yeah, no,
it's a terrible film.
But no, Rich, you know what? It gave us a great episode, and I sometimes think that that's why you pick these things. So let's talk about what we watched this week. I've got some quick ones that I can rattle off real fast. I checked out the first episode of The Muppets, and it was okay. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, but I'm curious to see where it goes from here. There is a joke about the bear community that completely caught me off guard, so that was pretty awesome. For Weird Ass Movie Night, we watched My Best Friend is a Vampire, which is an awesome movie, and I've talked about it on the old podcast before, and I'll talk about it on this one too. It's just a really good movie, and I feel like not enough people have seen it because it's overshadowed by Once Bitten, but I think that this is the superior film. And I watched the Italian slasher movie Pieces, which is...
Oh, it's on my short list.
Oh, it is fucking crazy. Like, that
Is it worth watching?
Oh, it's great, but like like know what you are stepping into. Like it is just brutal. It's bizarre. The gore is great. The twists are insane. It is a fun movie. But that's all I have to say. So let's move on to Scott, because I think Adam has part one of a two-part story for us.
Yeah. I got two things to talk about. Well, three things. I'm sorry. Did I mention a couple weeks ago that I finally watched Ghoulies 2?
No, but how much better is that than Ghoulies 1?
Well, no, we don't talk about Ghoulies 1. But man, Ghoulies 2, so funny. Like, I just love 80s horror flicks. They just are so cheesy, and they could get away with it. I don't know what happened to that. Like, nothing modern is ever cheesy or fun. It's always super serious, or it's got to be very obviously a horror comedy. There's no middle ground, and it's annoying. But yeah, I loved Ghoulies 2.
Yeah, it's very rare that they do the comedy right. For every Slither, you get like 1,000 films that can't get the tone right.
Zombievers.
Well, so Slither is not fair because I feel like that is... I guess you're right. It can count, but it's also a pastiche of 80s horror, so it would not have worked if they hadn't gotten that cheesiness and that very subtle humor right. But then there's like Dale and Tucker, or Tucker and Dale versus Evil, and that movie is great, but it is straight. It is a comedy horror. Like, it's not a horror movie with some comedy in it. Yeah. So it doesn't. I don't know. I just feel like everything's got to be a pastiche, or it's got to be a parody. And there's nothing that's like serious horror, but with some good fun in it. It's always got to be so goddamn serious, and it's frustrating. So anyway,
I think we need to infuse Hollywood with more massive amounts of cocaine. Yeah, because that's they really toned down on the blow.
Yeah, everybody's doing H and just being all depressed.
Yeah, doing H and making like fucking Requiem for a Dream and stuff. You're just sitting over there and watching Ghoulies 2.
Yeah, I'm over here watching Ghoulies 2, waiting for Ghoulies 4. I also I rewatched The Last Starfighter, which is because Megan and I were watching the Star Wars trilogy. We're only through the first two. 4 and 5 basically, but we don't talk about the first 3. But Last Starfighter is still a really fun movie. Of all the movies that were Star Wars ripoffs, it is the best, in my opinion. I also rewatched The Good Bits, which is, let me say, the good bits in quotation marks, of Evil Tunes, which I've been talking about for months on end to try and get Matt to watch it. I take it back. I retract that statement. Don't watch it. It's so much worse than I remembered. It's so bad. And like, I wanted you to watch it for the nudity, but now that it's years later, I'm an adult, and there's porn freely flowing everywhere, and it's not 1999, and I'm like just hard up for pun intended for any kind of TNA. Don't watch Evil Tunes. It's the worst Evil Dead ripoff you've ever even imagined. So that's me.
All right. Adam?
All right, so I went to see a screening of Candyman and a Q&A with Tony Todd. First of all, I drove 4 fucking hours to get there.
What?
Already not worth
how
it.
Much do you love... I didn't know that you were that big of a Candyman fan, and for that, I think I might quit the podcast until next week.
I'm not. I mean, I like Candyman. I think it's a good movie. I didn't even understand it was about racism, though. Anyway, so... No, it was. We got free tickets for it. Like, we won a contest and we got free tickets. So, and it was only supposed to be about a 2-hour drive, but we got stuck in fucking traffic and ended up in like gridlock on the 401. So it was bad. I was obviously not very happy when I got there, but I was pretty happy to get out of the car because the person that was driving was playing a B-52 album on fucking repeat over and over and over again for like 4 hours. I was like, get me the fuck out of here. So I was kind of excited when we got there because they had this huge tent set up like just gigantic. So I was like, oh, this is going to be cool. Walk in the front door, empty space, nothing but empty fucking space for as far as the eye could see, and maybe like 25 people were there.
Oof.
So and I'm like, this is definitely not recoup its money, because I mean, we got the tickets for fucking free, so I definitely didn't go to support this event or anything. It must have been, yeah, they must have just bled money. So anyways, we get in there and there's this like Evanescence ripoff band playing.
Ooh.
Yeah. Playing it to like an audience of one too, because there's only one person that's actually looking at them and paying attention to them, and it was a photographer, and I later found out that was the lead singer's mom. So like, just this whole place is just steeped in depression right now. There's 3 booths in the entire fucking place. There was the Rue Morgue booth. They were the event organizers, so they didn't actually have anything at their booth. There was nothing there. There was this other booth that I never managed to figure out exactly what it was, because the people that were running it looked just pissed that they were there and like pissed at the turnout. But I think it was like they would create a zombie figure of you, like a life-sized zombie version of you.
What? Who has the money for that stupid bullshit?
That's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't bring $600, $700 to this thing, and I don't want to get on your shitty mailing list. Like, get away from me. The other booth was the mask guys. Like, there's always mask guys at the convention, right? And he did have really cool stuff, but they were just like desperate for human contact, because like I came over, I started looking at stuff, and his sales pitch was, yeah, man, you don't even have to buy anything. You can just hang out if you want to chill. And I was like, oh, fuck. Like, Jesus, calm down, buddy. but one of us ended up buying, did you guys see, like, Twisty the Clown from the 4th season of American Horror Story?
No, I've never seen a single second of it.
But you'd know if you saw it. It's I don't watch American Horror Story either. It's the big smiley face monster, or
Gotcha.
like the monster smile.
Yeah, I know. Okay, I know it.
Yeah, one of us bought like the smiley mouth part that like goes over your face. One of us bought that, so that was kind of cool. But we were just talking to those guys for a bit because they were just so hard up for anybody to talk to. But I turned around and I saw a bar, so I immediately fucking beeline for that, because I was like, this is awful, get me away from this. And I got over there, and $9 for domestic beer. I was like, go fuck yourself. Like, God, this is terrible. So anyways, they had all these like couches and stuff set up. So we sat down, we were waiting for Candyman to come on, and a fucking magician rolled up on us. And this guy was not provided by the event. He was just creeping up on people in the crowd, and without asking, like, he would dive into his routine. So you couldn't turn him down. You had to awkwardly sit there and watch this guy perform magic tricks. So we all were just not fucking feeling it. And he just like limped his way through 3 tricks. And then he was just like, awkwardly packed his shit, didn't even say anything, and walked away from us. We're like, oh my God, fuck. And his name was Mysterion. He called himself Mysterion. I was like, is that a character from a South Park episode? Like, come on, man. What are you doing? Anyways,
I really wish he would have been Peter Vincent in the Fright Night remake.
Yeah, see, him I would have been cool to fucking talk to for a bit, but
anyways, as long as you had a couple bottles of Midori.
Anyway, so I'll that's it for part 1. I'll tell you about the actual screening and how much of a fucking shithead Tony Todd is next week.
All right. Well, that was our discussion on The Ruins. If you have any ideas for movies that you want us to watch, feel free to send us an email at hmnpodcast@gmail.com. I will give you guys a quick spoiler alert. You can stop asking us to watch Tusk. We've fought against this tooth and nail. We will fucking do it. We will bite the goddamn bullet and watch Tusk. But please stop emailing us to watch Tusk. It'll happen.
We're doing that in our time, though. We will watch Tusk when we want to watch Tusk.
We're gonna. We'll watch Tusk after we've watched like 5 or 6 movies that we loved, where we're ready to just be upset again. But...
Well, hey, here's the thing. You've been pestering people for months to send us emails. People start sending us emails, and you're like, stop sending us emails!
I know. I have no problem with...
Mixed messages.
No, I have no problem with the emails. I'm just letting them know that we will get to Tusk eventually. You don't have to be the person to make that suggestion anymore, because 5 or 6 people have already beaten you to it.
And to be fair...
everybody that listens to this fucking thing.
To be fair, we were asking for emails of your pictures of your dicks. So sending us requests to watch Tusk is like, that's a little weird.
Yeah, we want you to show us your... We want to see your tusks, not hear about the movie.
That was a good one.
So check out this podcast next week when we're going to talk about Life Force, the movie that Adam picked, and kind of sort of regret it picking, I guess, question mark. Which seems to be an ongoing...
I know why I picked it.
Yeah.
I know why I did.
Yeah.
And
I do too.
That seems to be the ongoing theme with all of... How many... We should do research on how many of Adam's picks since he's became the co-host on this show has the episode started with him going, I'm sorry, guys.
It's happened quite a few times. You're right.
So check us out next week to listen to the episode of Life Force. But in the meantime, feel free to throw us some comments, follow us on SoundCloud, subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, and email us some movie ideas that you would like to hear us talk about, excluding the movie Tusk, at hmnpodcast@gmail.com. Let them cool for the next 2 hours.
You gotta put him on his windowsill and shit. Oh my god, he is that woman from Poltergeist. Yeah. Oh well, Scott, what are you making those fresh baked cookies for? Well, my grandchildren gonna come over later.
You're listening to the Geekscape Network.